Hey, everybody, welcome to another week of Breakfast All Day. Alonzo here with Matt and Christy. We're all remotely doing our thing. And time for another update of the week of news of COVID and otherwise in the show business. Christy's got her list, but first, Matt's got marquees.
Yes, I do. All right, so let me share my screen. Pardon me.
Also, you guys, if you hear noise in the background here, it is my husband is assembling IKEA patio furniture.
Oh my!
In the backyard, we got a table and chairs.
I mean, there's going to be Swedish swearing.
Yes, he's learned how to swear in Swedish just for the occasion. What are we looking at?
What's Irish and stays out all night?
We're looking at notes.
Patio furniture.
Yeah.
All right. Hang on. Let me get to the old slideshow. Wherever that is. Oh, hang on.
That looks like a KFC that's been turned into a movie theater.
Yeah. Oh, shit. Hang on.
And I don't object to that at all.
It's like, when there's an old Taco Bell that's been repurposed.
Oh, IHOPs for the longest time because they always had the big roofs and everything.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot of that going on with Pizza Huts too. Okay, so this is what we're starting to clip off with today. This is from Red Bluff. This is the Red Bluff Cinemas in Red Bluff, California. It's about 130 miles north of Sacramento. And I bring this up because this is another local theater that's struggling to stay afloat. They're having a lot of trouble. They've opened up a GoFundMe. And, I'm sure a lot of people in their locales are seeing this. This is kind of the state of the times right now. So, yes, it is kind of depressing with all of the news that is coming out of what the major chains are doing. And this is one of the ones that struck me because like a lot of small theaters, this one, even when movies come back, this one's going to get hit by that AMC deal that came up with Universal, because one of the updates to that is that we didn't talk about a couple of weeks ago was that in the AMC partnership with Universal, that 17-day window, once things go to premium on demand, AMC continues to get a piece of that Universal film at home. And I don't know that we had brought that up.
Well, so little theaters like this can't get a piece of that? It's exclusive to AMC?
It's exclusive to AMC.
That's shitty.
Yeah. It is extremely shitty.
So it says cinemas, no movies for now, popcorn every Saturday, 1 to 5.
Yep.
SaveYourCinema.com. Check us out on Facebook and PrimeRedBluff.com. Yes, please save your local theaters.
Yes, they sell popcorn on Saturdays. They're hoping that they're going to make it back into the business. There's an article at Red Bluff Daily News about it. I'll put that in the comments. And this is, really just one of the things that's going to be happening around the country. Wish I had something funnier to share here, but I don't. So we started this one off.
And it's worth pointing out, SaveYourCinema.com is a way for you to contact your elected representatives to see about legislation that would provide protections and financial assistance for community theaters like this, because this is so many different ways of life right now. We're suffering in the pandemic, and the movie theater experience is one of them. And so if you can rent a movie via your cinema, that's great. If you can buy popcorn or a T-shirt or a gift card, that always helps. But it really is going to come down to like the big bucks that only the government can do. So check out SaveYourCinema.com, see if you can get involved with that.
All right, so our next picture, we have a few pictures from Bobby Lane. He writes, "Hey, Christy, Matt, and Alonzo, hope you're all doing well. One of the local theaters near me in New Hampshire opened last weekend.
Oh.
The Claremont Cinema Center in Claremont, New Hampshire. It's in a strip mall, has 6 screens. The interior probably hasn't been updated since the 80s. Right on.
It looks very 80s. It's got this marquee with like a popcorn thing and tickets and a movie reel.
Yeah, that's definitely some 80s era clip art. Gorgeous. Very retro, but very clean. Staff is super nice. Included a picture showing last weekend's offerings. That's this second picture. Nothing playing worth catching COVID-19. Maybe if they get Tenet in September, my wife and I will take the chance.
I meant to send this to you guys. Did y'all see the Regal Cinemas like clip of everything we're doing to reopen the theaters. It's like,
what are they doing? What's in the clip?
So there's this whole video, and some dude sounds entirely too joyful.
Oh, like, the narration's bananas.
We know that you're excited to get back, and we are too. And here's all the stuff we're doing. We're going to be sanitizing every seat in between showings. We're going to have hand sanitizer stations all over.
Markings
lobby.
On the floor for social distancing and touchless concessions. And
the thing
that's
about
nice to let us know. That's helpful, right?
But there's a lot of stuff where it's like, and we're going to be constantly cleaning the soda machines and all this other stuff. It's like, man, a lot of this cleaning stuff you guys should be doing already.
Well, yeah, but and also the idea that I don't know if you guys saw that article in the Atlantic Monthly about hygiene theater, where basically these places like restaurants and movie theaters that we shouldn't be going to because of other dangers are like, oh no, we're wiping everything down. It's like, well, that's great, but people aren't getting this from surfaces. It's airborne. They're getting it in the air.
Yeah, it's just like, oh my God, it's just like TSA, right? And here's our new business model. We are going to open the TTSA, the MTSA, the Movie Theater Safety Administration. It's going to be run by private contractors, and we'll get government grants for it, and we'll make everyone feel safe, even though it's not really doing anything, just like the TSA.
Yeah, we'll check your shoes and underwear for no apparent reason.
You guys aren't with me on that?
No, it's you're not wrong.
All right, so next up, we got a bunch of pictures from Dennis Litton. Hey, Breakfast All Day. I cruised by the Sebastiani Theater in Sonoma, California. They were selling concessions until 7 p.m. So as you can see on this sign, let's support the Sebastiani Theater. Friday curbside concessions, 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. And a picture of a cup of soda and a little bag of popcorn. I want to point out that bag of popcorn looks a lot less happy than the cup of soda.
She seems concerned. Yeah, I'm wondering if that's from the old "Let's All Go to the Lobby" or if it's from the parody version of that in the Aqua Teen Hunger Force movie.
It looks similar. Yeah, Master Shake is. Yeah, is that Master Shake's cousin? Maybe so. Anyway, looks like Corona came right before the scheduled Sonoma Film Fest. Right. This is so now they're talking about the Sebastiani at home, but they are part of the Save Your Cinema movement,
and you can rent movies via them.
Right. So they did their virtual film festival from July 30th to August 2nd. Beautiful sign there, right?
1933, historic building.
Gorgeous.
I'd love to see that lit up. That'd be great. So Dennis, if it's safe, go get us a picture with the neon. That's your assignment. Of course, be safe, right?
Please.
Yes, more, sign over the ticket booth, be well, be safe, be kind. I'm glad to see that this woman is taking the safety seriously because she's behind glass and right on, still wearing the mask.
Setting the example.
Setting the example. Exactly. Be the change we want to see. Tell Congress, save your cinema. There's also some save our stages stuff that we're seeing for live events, for concert venues. So, yeah. Okay, so next one. This is a picture of the Elk Grove Theater that Frank Sagino sent in. He said he has sent us pictures of the Elk Grove before.
Yes.
That's the one that said, "We are Groot." Unfortunately, after a 3-week run of older films, the chain decided to close again. These are the latest signs. We love you, 3000. We'll be back. Stay classy, Elk Grove, and we'll be back.
That's very sad. We hope you come back too.
Yes. We hope so too. All right. So Jeff Swanson, who's been sending us a lot of pictures, sent us pictures of Senator Amy Klobuchar and the famous First Avenue in downtown Minneapolis, home of Prince. And we see, some stars for Bob Mould and Rage Against the Machine and Cake. She's
and Prince.
Prince.
He said Prince first.
I said Prince first.
Right.
Apollonia, calm down.
I'm Vanity. Sorry. I'm Wendy and Lisa. Look at Amy Klobuchar just hanging out. Like, oh, hi, I didn't see you there.
Oh, hi. Exactly. So yeah, so her Save Our Stages is in Congress is something she introduced to provide funding to America's independent entertainment venues. So that would be a lot of, music venues. The second photo that he sent us is employees putting the finishing touches on the marquee of this famous venue, the First Avenue, hopefully giving all of us a nudge, and that says "Vote 2020."
Mm-hmm.
So. Thank you, Jeff, for sending those in. Next, here are a couple of pictures from Jeff Wozniak. Here's our local art house, the Playhouse Cinema in Hamilton, Ontario, at 105 years old. It just reopened with lots of restrictions. It's a great little place, now showing Adam Agoyan's latest. And there's also a black and white Parasite screening coming soon.
Oh, groovy.
This gives you an idea of some of the stuff that's coming there.
Oh, and the Cream documentary.
Right. Their First Cow, guest of honor. Thank you for sending those in, Jeff. And then next up, this is a picture. This is our last picture sent from Kirby Zozula, the majestic Ventura Theater in Ventura, California. Kirby writes that I first saw Raiders of the Lost Ark there in 1981. It opened in 1928. It's now a concert venue. Favorite concert there were the Ramones, Blondie, the Bangles, and the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
That's awesome.
And cool Ventura sign on top of the marquee, and it says, "A wave has crushed my heart like a shattered work of art. Stand together now or forever be torn apart." Beautiful sentiment, and that's
I hope
it.
they can reopen. I hope they can.
I hope so too. And so that's it.
Cool theaters.
So thanks everybody for sending in marquees. Keep them coming. We'll have a lot, not next week, but probably 2 weeks from now. Because
the poem on the Ventura marquee, by the way, is by Aaron Orbit.
How do you know that, Alonzo?
I Googled it.
Oh.
He is a musician.
Cool.
Related to William Orbit?
Well, thank you for all of that. We appreciate it. Yeah, as Matt mentioned, we're taking next week off for a variety of reasons, but please come back and hang out with us on August 21st.
This is my last show from this backyard.
In this backyard. So are you all packed up, Matt? Are you ready to go?
We are a lot packed up.
Okay.
Yeah, but next Friday we'll be moving. I'm here with a plastic tiki mug because all of the ceramics are packed up.
Wrapped.
That was the first thing I wrapped, and I'm going to move those myself.
Extra special bubble wrap for the tiki collection.
Yes, the signs say, "Tiki mugs, extremely fragile, do not stack."
No. So speaking of Ventura, this is not really entertainment related, but it's on my list. Do you see that Ventura County is suing this church? There's a church in Ventura County that for months has been having services with no masks and no distancing. They're like, we're going to sing and we're going to hug and you can't stop us. We're going to do it indoors. And the Lord will protect us.
Of course.
Ventura County is suing them.
They're drenched in the blood of Christ or whatever those folks like to say. Ay, ay, ay. Well, good luck, Ventura County.
Yeah, it's not safe. So the big news. Go ahead, Matt.
All of that would, what's frustrating about this is every time I see somebody being stupid and being like, and yes, I said it. They're, people who refuse to take safety measures, they're being clowns. Which would be fine if we could just say, okay, sure, Darwinism at work. But it's not, because then those people spread it around.
No,
right?
Exactly.
So
if the scofflaws were going to wind up being the victims of all this, it'd be like, well, that's what you get. But no, you're just giving it to grandma, and so go fuck yourself.
They venture out into the world.
And I've seen this has become like a popular right-wing talking point. Oh, well, who else banned church services? Hitler. It's like, no one's banning church services. You can zoom it up all you want. You can do it outdoors and distance and mask all you want. But it's when you decide that you're going to completely flout science because you're going to be protected, then no, stop it. And did I mention go fuck yourself? Go fuck yourself.
I want to clarify something though. They are temporarily banning church services because it's unhealthy. That's not why Hitler did it. Hitler said no because it's getting in my way. That's not what's happening here.
Obviously.
Right? So anyone who draws the Hitler parallel, fuck off.
Right. Also, it's very easy to have outdoor church services. Long before this pandemic happened, there were a couple different churches down here in the South Bay that did it outside of the sand at the beach, right at the foot of the Avenue C stairs. So it can be done.
How did you meet and talk about God? It's like a chicken and egg. How did you talk about God before anyone built the church?
Watch any movie about the 1930s. There's always these revivals in tents. Like, come on. This is not that hard.
Anyway, the big news of the week, actual film news, Mulan.
Yes.
Mulan is going to premiere on Disney Plus. You can rent it for $29.99 starting on September 1st. Now, unlike other big studio rentals where you had like a 48-hour window, you can watch Mulan for as long as you subscribe to Disney Plus. So it sounds big because it's a larger number than we have seen for these like super premium rentals. But A, you get it for a longer time. And B, $30 is still cheaper than it would be for a family of four just to buy movie tickets, much less popcorn, soda, candy. So it's still a better deal, but it's really interesting from an industry perspective because like Tenet, folks were looking to Mulan for some guidance as to how to handle things. Like Tenet still is the one that has been setting the precedent, but like Mulan was going second. So now that Mulan is like, okay,
off the board,
we're not going to open on August 21st like we thought we were going to. It's interesting because all these theater chains are saying we're going to reopen in mid-August, but Disney apparently doesn't have a whole lot of faith in that because they're going straight to VOD with one of its biggest titles of the summer.
So one of the interesting things when I see people complain about that price point, right? Because it's $29.99 on top of your monthly subscription, right? Yes. So, okay, sure. Let's say even if the subscription is $10 a month, we're talking $40. Well, or I'm sorry, $30. $40
right? Plus 10
plus the subscription,
right? So we're talking $40, but you'd be hard pressed to buy 2 tickets,
right,
to that movie in a lot of places for less than $30, right? You're not going to take just one person to that. I think for the most part, the target audience is going to be families taking kids. It's going to be that is a better deal because then also, let me tell you, we all know the candy at the grocery store is a hell of a lot cheaper than the candy at the theater. Now, the thing that disturbs me that no one in their right mind is ever going to bring into their home is, have you guys seen from time to time we get those press releases about that first run home theater thing that can tell how many people are in the room?
No.
Oh yeah.
Wait.
Oh, I
who
can't
does
remember.
That?
So there's some company. I'll look it up and I'll.
Alexa counts the heartbeats. What?
It's something where it's like some device it's a set-top box, and the idea is that it could actually show stuff at the same time a movie premieres in theaters. But there's a sensor that will count how many people are in the room watching the film, like
Truly,
on the TV.
How do you know?
Well, so we have all types of virtual devices that. So I guess this is a sensor that either like counts the eyes that are in the room or functions like, probably like the PlayStation, whatever it is at home.
There's like a heat scan or something.
Well, or whatever, right? Like there are sensors that could, it will figure out, it will know somehow, maybe it's some real like low key camera that can figure out how many people are watching. And so it will charge you accordingly. But the trick is like, how do you convince consumers to get one of those? Right?
Weird.
Like,
that's,
what's the incentive for, anyway? So
I have a couple of Mulan thoughts I want to throw out.
Me too. Go ahead.
One, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I just think it's a bummer. I really want to see it. It's supposed to be gorgeous. I mean, in terms of like production values and the choreography and the sound design, supposedly people who have seen it the way it's meant to be seen say it's stunning, and I'm bummed that we can't see it that way. Go ahead.
Actually, I have 3 thoughts. Okay, First of all, it's a PG-13 movie, weirdly enough. So it's like that, which doesn't make it not family fair. But I think, as the Rachel from Rachel's Reviews pointed out, it goes to show you how little anybody cares about ratings anymore when it comes to what you're going to see with your family. Because all the conversation about this is how much it costs to rent versus how much it would be to take an entire family to go see it at the theater. So it doesn't seem like anybody's thinking, oh, I can't show my kid Mulan. They're like, oh, well, Mulan's available. We're going to watch it, Second of all, from a home entertainment perspective, I think maybe some of the earlier VOD releases might have been purchased, but you're right. For the most part, it was like $19.99, 48-hour rental. That's it. This is creating this new paradigm where you are buying the movie, but you can only watch it via Disney Plus, and you can only watch Disney Plus if you keep subscribing to Disney Plus. It's not like you buy a movie on Amazon or iTunes, where ostensibly it's yours forever, even though that we've discovered is forever is a pliable term. So that's just kind of a weird new thing that we're looking at in terms of like, I own it, but I have to subscribe to this thing or I don't get to see it anymore. And then somebody else also pointed out on Twitter that it is a little weird that the movies that we're seeing get pulled from theatrical and onto home entertainment very often are these like female-centric titles, you know.
Courtney said that. That's where you got that.
Oh, Courtney said that. Yeah,
Courtney Howard said that.
Yeah, she talked about how, Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always, and The High Life, and
The High Note.
The High Note, sorry. This movie, and
those aren't the same movie?
I don't know. I'm not sure what The High Life is. Anyway, but,
Robert Pattinson in space.
Oh, you're right. Yeah. Very different movie. Anyway, but like, so that's the stuff that they decide they can sort of toss onto the fire of VOD, whereas like, no one's going to do that with Fast 9 or Tenet or whatever. Like the boy movies, they're going to hold out and do in theaters, but these like, okay, fine. They're more expendable somehow. So
I don't know. As a woman myself, I don't know that I believe that.
Okay.
I think it might just be an unfortunate coincidence. I don't know.
Actually, no, I'm kidding.
Yeah, please, yes, and me. But I think in the case of Tenet, it's so singular because Christopher Nolan is like Warner Brothers' marquee director, right? And he is like their reliable, like cash bringer inner for over a decade now. So I think he's a peculiar case in that he can dictate that.
Sure, and Black Widow is still not on home video, or Wonder Woman 1984, although ostensibly those are movies that would have more of an appeal to a male ticket buying audience than The High Note.
Did you guys hear Seth Rogen's comment about Tenet? And Seth Rogen's
I said that to you.
Oh, yes. All right. Well, then share it, because not everybody necessarily saw that.
He was talking about like, they wanted to sort of do what Christopher Nolan does. Like that was sort of their goal as filmmakers. And the interviewer was like, well, what does Christopher Nolan do? And he goes, well, for a while there, it looked like he wanted to kill his most ardent fans.
That's funny. So anyway, so I look forward to that. We'll watch that and we'll talk about that. But,
sure.
And, even if you do have a giant TV and you have a great sound at home, it's still not the same experience. So kind of a bummer. Maybe when things get normal again, the world can experience Mulan the way it was intended.
And let's not forget, like even before all this happened, Disney decided to dump the live action Lady and the Tramp directly onto Disney Plus when it was originally, I think, intended to be a theatrical release.
Speaking of female directors, we have a director for Captain Marvel 2.
Yes.
Nia DaCosta, whose Candyman hasn't even come out yet.
Nope.
But it's a good sign for that movie.
Yeah, I mean, the trailer was awesome. Was that supposed to have come out like in the last couple of months and it just keeps getting pushed? Is that one of the many?
I can't remember if that was going to be like around Halloween time. I forget I don't know the history. Oh, the other woman-centric film that Courtney was talking about is Antebellum, which they just announced is going to be
pushed to, hold on, September 18th.
Yeah, so that's going to be available on VOD now, whereas it wasn't before. Yeah, no, that's exciting. Good news for Nia DaCosta. I mean, I think that we're seeing with the Marvel franchise that the franchise is the star, and that allows, I think, Disney to maybe gamble on filmmakers who are not traditionally in the studio system or to traditionally make these kind of big budget effects heavy movies. And it certainly paid off with Taika Waititi. And so now they're like, all right, well, let's see what Chloe Zhao's got. Let's see what Nia DaCosta wants to do. Let's see what, Fleck and
Anna Fleck and Ryan Bowden
want to do, people like that. So it's like, all right, well, good. You're doing something with this relative amount of, sort of audience clout that you've gathered at this point. You can maybe paradigm shift a little and look to an interesting filmmaker like, and it just flew right out of my head, the
Patty
Black Panther
Jenkins.
guy.
Patty Jenkins.
No, that's DC.
Oh, we're talking about Marvel specifically?
Yeah,
I thought we were
I'm
talking about comic book movies in general.
I'm talking about Marvel specifically. You're right, though. I mean, DC hiring Patty Jenkins, I think they knew they couldn't not hire a woman for that one, and she was, I think, the second one they went to. But, you know, yes, I would like to think that DC can do the same thing. Why am I blanking on the name of the guy who directed Black Panther? I should know this.
Ryan Coogler.
Ryan Coogler, thank you. It's not just the hair turning white people; it's encroaching senility. You know, so yeah, I think that, you know, they've taken what some really safe money people would look at as risks, and they've turned out really well. So I'm glad they're continuing in that direction.
Speaking of risks, we just watched Damien Chazelle's iPhone movie.
Yes,
Damien Chazelle shot this movie vertically. You didn't watch it?
No.
It's cute. It's called The Stunt Double.
It's 8 minutes.
It's like 9 minutes long, and they play with the space in fun, inventive ways. It is through Apple. If you just Google The Stunt Double, it'll pop up. You can watch it on whatever, Apple, YouTube. I guess they're doing a whole series of these called Vertical Cinema. And so Damien Chazelle did the first one. Linus Sandgren shot this, you guys. His Oscar-winning La La Land cinematographer. So it looks fucking great and like way better than anything any of us would just, look, we can make a movie on our phones too. No, you can't.
Yeah.
Not unless you have the Oscar-winning Swedish cinematographer on your side to help you out.
Or you are Steven Soderbergh, you know.
Right, that's true. So it's really fun, and it's about a stunt double and his, you know, he's looking back through all the genres that he has performed in, and it uses the space in fun ways, like closing the walls in on him, or an overhead shot of a duel in a Western, and it's good.
Yeah, you know, it kind of made me think about the idea that aspect ratio, for the most part, has been sort of not inflicted, but sort of placed upon artists by the technology, and not necessarily vice versa. No, when they invented cinema, they didn't necessarily think, okay, it's going to be this, but it was like, well, this is what the camera captures, you know, and they start playing around with it, and, you know, you get like your anamorphic and all this other stuff, but it's kind of like you're just sort of working with what the tech offers. And so, you know, Quibi, for its many faults, is at least trying to do this thing where like everything they do is designed to be watched either in portrait or landscape. And in these shorts, it's like, no, we're just our aspect ratio is going to be and we're going to see what kind of stories we can tell with that. And, you know, this is an interesting stab at that. And I look forward to see what other filmmakers they've approached to try this.
It took a second for me to adjust to it. Right, because we're so accustomed to seeing things horizontally, but it's also very canny in terms of targeting who it is that watches content on their phones.
Sure.
Right.
So,
if you watch TikTok, if you watch Instagram stories, and that's your primary source of entertainment and information, you're used to that. If you're like 20,
right,
younger.
What's you know, Alonzo, you talk about the changes in the aspect ratios, but you know, you don't really see cinemas start doing that until TV comes around, and then all of a sudden the theater's like, okay, we got to get people into the theaters. What can we do that they can't get at home, right? And so similarly, you're right. You know, Christy, you're right. It is very canny. Like, sure, filmmakers want to see things sideways because that's what they're used to, and so for someone to take the leap and do it, you know, a portrait mode, because not only partly because it takes into account the ergonomic aspect of somebody holding their phone as opposed to like, right. And maybe that's the future, right? That's to me going to be one of the really fascinating things to watch is, are there going to be stories that are better told? Because when you see something, you know, shot kind of in a landscape in a widescreen that's forced into that smaller space, you know, with black bars, you're like, oh God, this is tiny now.
And it's always interesting what like people, I'm sure there are people that are like, oh no, this is, you know, clutching their pearls, this is so terrible. But like there's a Charlie Chaplin movie called A King in New York, and it's coming on TCM soon when they do Charlie Chaplin Day. If you've never seen it, I recommend it. It's one of his later films. It's a talkie that he made in the 50s while he was sort of exiled from the United States. And there is a scene where his character and this other guy go to a movie that's in CinemaScope, and it's all these sight gags about how terrible CinemaScope is. So like there's there's all this like there's a shootout in a Western, and the entire audience is doing like this, like they're at a tennis match, and there's just all this stuff that's like, it was basically the old guard of cinema being like, oh, this new widescreen, it'll never last, and it's aesthetically, terrible, blah, blah, blah. And so, I think anytime something new pops up, there's going to be people who find it objectionable, and other people are like, well, what can we do with this? How do we make
Singing
this?
in the Rain?
Yes. How do we make
like, there's that whole thing, like, we don't want to hear actors talk.
Yeah, ew. Nobody wants that. So somebody out there, some 12-year-old who doesn't know that he's not supposed to, is making movies thinking about the y-axis and not the x-axis, and they're going to come up with something amazing.
Right. Yeah,
oh, wait till you guys see Spree.
Spree.
What's Spree?
Oh, we'll cover it in 2 weeks.
Okay.
Spree is the one with Joe Keery.
Oh.
And he's he wants viral fame, and the entire movie is shot either on the GoPros in his car as he's an Uber driver of sorts, although that service is called Spree, or on Sashir Zameda's phone because she's playing this hardcore Instagram influencer comic, and it's all shot on smaller cameras and presented as the way you would watch these,
TikTok
computer videos, viral.
Should I watch this on my phone?
Maybe.
I watched on my iPad, so maybe so.
Maybe. You guys, last night I read this article in the New York Times about how all of these 20-year-old influencers are still going to parties together and not wearing masks and not distancing because it's their livelihood is to go to things and document it. And I had heard of only one person of all the names that they mentioned of all these hugely popular TikTok people and online influencers. I'd heard of one person only because she's Jake Paul's fiance, girlfriend, something. I'm I am fucking old.
Oh yeah, and
I know nothing.
Oh, listen,
I feel bad for the livelihood of all the OnlyFans people. That's got to be a challenge,
No, actually, that's
your
that's the new future.
Are not available.
No.
Anyway.
That's actually the OnlyFans people I've read have been doing really well. It's funny you bring this stuff up though, Christy. My wife and I got in an argument with Gabe last night because he came in gleefully telling us about some controversy. I don't even want to get into the details, but basically my interpretation is you're enjoying a bunch of edgelords get together and complain about somebody. Okay, maybe we're gonna have a talk about what you're watching now, because it was yes, these are all game streamers, and it was just this whole that yeah.
You need to pull away from the screen sometimes. It's a good thing.
Right. It's watching these guys come off like Ben Shapiro playing video games.
Okay, so we have other things to discuss. Sundance is going to happen in some form. It's going to be shorter. It's going to be 7 days, not 11 days. It's going to run from January 28th to February 3rd, and they're going to have trying to have all the theaters at 25% capacity. Now, I've never been to Sundance, but I know it's it's jammed. The streets are jammed. The sidewalks are jammed. The theaters are jammed. It's cold, right?
Yeah,
so you want to go inside.
Usually. Well, here's how Sundance is set up. You get to the venue that you're going to, and while the current movie is playing, there's a heated tent outside with a long amusement park line stanchion set up where you gather to get into the next screening. So basically, they empty out the theater, they fill the theater. They empty the theater, they fill the theater. So you are never not surrounded by a gajillion people,
right,
basically.
Or in the very crowded shuttles.
I was saying you got there on a very crowded shuttle, more likely.
And you go to a bar
also.
afterwards to talk about it.
Exactly, all of that stuff. So there's not a lot of alone time at Sundance. So good luck. I don't know how that's going to work.
I don't know how any of it's going to work. Maybe they're really hoping that by then, because it's 5 months away. September, October, November, December, January. 5 months away, yeah. And maybe they hope by then it'll go away like a miracle.
It'll just go away.
The
Honestly, like, the only way
it'll
you
go
pull
away like things go away.
Like things go away.
Well,
It
just
is
let
what
the
it is.
kids go. Just have it for children, because the children are pretty much immune.
Right. They can just go to school. So that is happening. That is interesting. But along those lines, places where people do huddle together, like Not Scary Farm, like Halloween Horror Nights at Universal, all those things have been canceled.
The Rockettes have canceled their Christmas shows at Radio City.
Is that the first time ever?
I think it is.
You know, that
Like-
kick line is just not the same when everybody's 6 feet apart.
Right?
Exactly.
They rely on one another for balance. Come on,
Right, they're all
ladies.
holding sticks.
Oh my God.
Big
So
candy canes.
that is all interesting. But Tribeca has announced its dates for next summer or next. Yeah,
Yep.
I guess it is summer at this point. Tribeca Film Festival hopes to be back in physical form June 9th through 20th of 2021.
I hope for
So,
that too.
I hope for that too. But that's also later than Tribeca usually is. Usually it's like April.
Yeah,
So
you know,
Well, that's
we're-
true. You're right. You're right.
As we're talking about Sundance, I know that there's going to be scheduling issues, but it seems like if you really want to have that festival, you bump it back to a warmer time of the year, right? You're out of ski season. You do it where it's, you know, like May or June, where you can actually have people stand outside if you're still that concerned. I understand that there's a whole cascade effect of scheduling.
I was going to
things
say,
that,
I'm sure the
like-
Cannes Film Festival would not be down for
Well,
that.
the thing that struck me was that the Sundance Institute
Mhm.
or the organizers had to get permission from Park City to shorten the festival.
Oh,
In the article that I read, and I was like,
you know, because I'm sure they probably book this stuff years in advance, obviously, in terms of like setting up the date so that the city knows what to prepare for. So to go back to them when they probably locked down the 2021 dates in 2018 or something, I'm sure they're like, actually, it's going to be, could it be? So, you know, I guess that makes sense.
I bet also part of it too is like they're relying on the tax revenue that comes with the massive tourist influx.
Well,
and
yeah.
They expect that 11 days worth is coming. And
Yeah,
so,
they have to
you know,
budget for that.
7 days is not as much.
Who's going to pay $60 to park on Sundays?
Oh, fuck. So I should have mentioned this when I mentioned the influencers still going to parties together. LA Mayor Eric Garcetti is threatening to turn off the water and power to giant parties because people are having giant parties like Jake Paul in Calabasas, where they had this huge influx of like heavily armed SWAT team.
Yes.
You come and bust it up. So they're just going to like shut the power off.
Wait, did
Well,
they
hang
bust up
on.
a party or
No.
did they search his house because they had a warrant to find like guns or something?
right.
I thought it was
You're-
a party.
No. So
He had a
the
party.
Jake Paul thing is they had a warrant to search his house because they are going after him about stuff that he had done during the protests that I think were in Arizona, that he was going into malls and picking stuff up. And then apparently people that had been looting were handing him stuff as he was live streaming. So that's what
Okay.
that part is about.
Oh, okay. But he also had
The
a party.
party thing is that, and this has been happening for a few years, is that there are, even before Airbnb became the big thing that it is, there would be homeowners that didn't live in the Hollywood Hills that would rent out, you know, and like Bel Air would rent out their houses for big raging, like the type of party that you only ever see in the movies.
Right.
And neighbors would
Project
get
X.
pissed. Right. And the neighbors would be pissed. And to a certain extent, I get it, right? Like you don't want somebody renting, like if my neighbor was constantly renting out their house for parties, I'd be pretty pissed too. So what Garcetti's talking about is the houses that are used for that, because there's been various legal discussions as to whether or not someone could rent out a house for an event like that if they're not living in it, and neighbors get pissed, and a lot of the laws have not caught up to that business model. And so what Garcetti's saying, you know, as opposed to them being able to do it previously, the health risks have, you know, I guess in his head enabled him to actually do something about this in a way that, like, if people weren't getting sick left and right, this would still be a thing that was happening, and the city would try to just be like,
And so beyond being noisy and annoying, it's also a super spreader event.
Exactly.
right. So they're not worried about the noise; it's the disease.
Yes, that's very interesting. Viacom CBS is launching a streaming service. Yet another streaming service is coming in early 21. It does not have a name yet. It will have
The people
Viacom
who gave
CBS
us
content.
CBS All Access are doing another one?
Yeah. Viacom CBS to launch new streaming service.
I can't keep up with any of this. Why is like the Harry Potter movies and stuff going from HBO Max to Peacock? Like
They are?
Yes.
That's weird.
I don't get it. Like I thought Warner Brothers owned that stuff. Like none of this makes sense.
Anyway,
so
content.
is it CBS All and More Access? Like
It's
Extra
beyond.
access?
It's Bed
Right?
Bath and Beyond, but for CSI episodes. Okay, so other things happening, movies that have moved. We talked about Annabellum going to VOD on September 18th. Matt, your favorite, Greenland, has moved to September 25th.
Damn it.
You were excited about Greenland.
Greenland?
Gerard Butler in Greenland. What else? Oh, coming out, we'll have to review this for sure. Another version of Rebecca on Netflix.
I saw that just got announced.
October 21st, just announced today, starring Lily James and Armie Hammer.
I'm not the
Very
biggest
interested.
Ben Wheatley fan, but I'm curious to see how he does.
Very interested in that. Alonzo, also, you just sent me this little tidbit that Love Victor season 2 is coming to Hulu, which makes total sense because it ends on a big old cliffhanger of Victor saying, "I'm gay," and you kind of can't just end it there.
Heavens no.
You gotta see what happens, what the fallout is from that.
But when are they going to shoot it?
That's an entire other topic.
That's a good question. There's also going to be a new Dirty Dancing, you guys. Jennifer Grey is back to star in and executive produce a new Dirty Dancing with Jonathan Levine directing. Is she baby now again? Like 35 years later, is she
Yes,
grown
that'd
up
be
Baby
awesome.
mama.
That would be awesome, actually.
I
That'd be
like.
awesome.
What if, like, in like 35 years after, well, God, it's not even. It can't even be disco because that would only be about 15 years after. I'm trying to think, like, what. 30. Okay, so the first one's 1963, right? So 1998, which is should be like running raves or something. Is it going to be like?
No, maybe it's like a boy band thing. She manages a boy band.
Could be.
I don't know. I don't
Or
know.
what
I just
was
don't
the-
need this.
What was the festival that Perry Farrell put together?
Oh,
Lollapalooza.
Lollapalooza.
Yeah, That'd
Maybe
be
on the
rad.
Horde tour.
right.
Yeah.
Right. She's got a granddaughter that is really into stage diving.
She's hanging out with 311 and Green Day. Anyway, this is very strange to me. I don't get it. But that's coming out eventually. That was announced this week. And also, while we're on the topic of music, Neil Young is suing the Trump campaign for repeatedly using his songs without permission. They keep playing Rockin' in the Free World at Trump rallies. Like, I love how people use songs like that and Born in the USA, and they don't really know what the lyrics are about.
No,
They're just
clearly
like,
not.
Yeah, fuck
Right.
yeah,
It's the
America.
equivalent of playing Every Breath You Take at a wedding.
Yes, exactly.
Anyway, so Neil Young is suing. I mean, previously he has said stop using our music. I mean, I don't know why the Rolling Stones still let him use "You Can't Always Get What You Want" at rallies.
They don't want him to. I mean, they have
You don't have the
complained about it,
rights.
but they haven't taken legal action. But if Neil Young gets some traction, I'm sure other bands will line up to be like, nope, off the playlist.
It's also an incredibly strange song choice. You can't always get what you want. But vote for me.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, wasn't he also playing REM's "It's the End of the World as We Know It"?
Is it ironic?
I mean, it does sound like
knows?
it does sound like the Biden campaign should be. You can't always get what you want,
Yeah.
but if you try sometimes, you'll at least get what you
You
need.
just might find. Also, there's
I'm sorry. I saw there was a meme about voting for Biden instead of Trump, and it was the line from Ocean's 11 where George Clooney asks Julia Roberts, "Does he make you laugh?" And she says, "He doesn't make me cry."
That's cute. Also forgot to mention that there's a new Charlie Kaufman movie coming out on September 4th on Netflix called "I'm Thinking of Ending Things."
I will not watch the trailer because I want to come in completely blank if I can. But I'm so excited because Synecdoche, New York is one of my favorite movies ever. I think Charlie Kaufman is an amazing filmmaker, and he does not get nearly enough at bats. So I'm looking forward to this.
I agree. And I think that's all I have for you. I don't really have that much news this week, but that was all interesting stuff.
Okay.
A little smorgasbord of things for you.
And TCA is happening, the Television Critics Association. It's virtually, obviously, but we've been starting to get some announcements.
Virtually happening.
Exactly. We're starting to get some. Did we talk last week about Lifetime's Christmas movie announcement? Was that happened on Monday?
We talked about the Hallmark one where they're doing like 40 more Christmas movies at Hallmark.
Yes, and they've got a new CEO coming in who is a Black woman, and hopefully that means we're going to be seeing some more genuine attempts at diversity at Hallmark. But Lifetime on Monday announced they're doing 30 Christmas titles again this year, including one with an LGBT couple, a same-sex couple at the center of the story. So that
sounds groundbreaking, right?
That's a big flipping deal. Yeah, no, it is groundbreaking. I mean, Hallmark is airing a movie not tomorrow night, but Saturday the 15th, called Wedding Every Weekend, about two people who sort of spend time together because they've got the same weddings to go to 4 weekends in a row. One of those weddings is Jewish. One of those weddings is a couple of different races. And one of those weddings is a lesbian wedding. And hardcore Hallmark fundamentalists are already losing their minds about it. Good. So whenever any tiny increments towards like progress get made with these movies, there's a hardcore audience that flips the fuck out. So everybody, if you've never watched a Hallmark movie before, watch Wedding Every Weekend, boost their ratings because they need to be able to show that there is an audience for this stuff. I'm very psyched to see it. And it stars two of the more charming Hallmark leads, Paul Campbell and Kimberly Sustad.
You know what we can do to help that?
What's that?
We should cover it.
Let's do it.
Okay.
When does it come
out? The Saturday the 15th.
So we'll do it the following week. We'll do it on the 21st.
Yeah.
Or maybe we can find a day after Matt moves. Like a day that's not...
Yes, I'm moving on the 14th, so...
Let's do it the following week.
That's why we're not doing it.
We're also taking next week off because I have a book deadline.
Right. No, I'm saying after that. After that.
Right. My deadline's the 17th, so after that.
Okay. That sounds really great. I'm excited. We'll talk about that. And also we're going to talk about The Secret, Dare to Dream this week, which is like Lifetime movie adjacent.
Oh, very. Yes. All right. Thanks for watching, everybody. Like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us at BeFastAllDay on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and check out our Patreon at patreon.com/BeFastAllDay. A lot of fun stuff going on over there. Our subscribers once a month get to pick a movie that we review, a classic that at least one of us hasn't seen. And in honor of the late Olivia de Havilland, we gave them 5 choices, and they selected for us The Adventures of Robin Hood. So we'll be reviewing that this week exclusively on Patreon. Thanks for watching. Have a good week. See y'all later. Bye.